Have you thought about networking, but you're not really sure why you need to do it? Maybe you're a new entrepreneur and people say, oh, networking is one of your top 3 strategies, but you're going, I'm really shy, I don't really like to do it. Or are you someone who does attend events and you walk away, or maybe you attend once and you go, well, that was a waste of time. Well, today we're going to tell you why it's not a waste of time and why you need to be out there networking. So my hangout shows and my mission as a business owner is to educate, inspire, and empower women entrepreneurs to create successful businesses. So in the next 45 minutes, we are going to be talking about reasons why you need to network. And if you're haven't been on my show before, watch me. My name is Dana Smithers. I'm a certified law of attraction trainer and business coach. So I'm all about using the law of attraction in every asset of your business. So whether you're networking or even being on a Google Hangout show, I've already set my intention today as to how I'd like the show to go, what I'd like you to receive from it, because we're going to be giving you information, so you're going to need pen and paper, but even I'll learn something while I'm on the show as well. So what I'd like to do is introduce my illustrious panel today, and we are eWomen, and if you're not familiar with the eWomen Network, you can check it out, eWomenNetwork.com. But Jane and Meshell, who are my guests today, probably don't know, but I've been an eWomen member coming up 11 years.
Oh,
yes.
Awesome.
So I've been around lots. I've met Sandra Yancey, and I love eWomen. I mean, there's other networking groups to go to, so you always want to find where you are the best fit, because it's about giving and receiving. So today with us we have Jane Johnston, who is a top 100 selling realtor in Western Canada with Remax Camosun in Victoria, BC. Jane is a powerful networker, and she's also the executive managing director of eWomen Network in the Victoria chapter. And she was also past president of Capital City Executives Association. So Jane is a wealth of information about networking. So Jane will be introducing herself in a moment. And then all the way from Austin, Texas, we have Meshell Baker. And interesting, I met Meshell Baker, and I think Jane would have too, when Meshell came up from Austin to talk at the Vancouver chapter. And Jane, was she in your chapter as well?
Yes, she was. Yep.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful way to network and spread her message. So Meshell is a highly engaging, captivating international speaker, congruency catalyst, life coach, and current managing director of eWomen Network Austin chapter. And she's also a published author. So both of these women are a wealth of knowledge about this particular topic today. And so without further ado, I am going to introduce I'm going to actually let Jane introduce herself. And so Jane, just tell us a little bit more about yourself, what kinds of services you offer. I know that you are a realtor, but I think you've got some other things on the go there too. So go ahead, Jane.
Well, I've been in real estate for 10 years. I started after I was working actually with a realtor who wasn't so hot, and I thought, like anyone else, I could do that.
Yeah.
I joined eWomen Network actually, so I became a full-time realtor in July of 2006, and I joined eWomen Network in December 2006. I will say, for me, this type of networking has been the most powerful networking group that I've been a part of, and I've been a part of a few. In terms of services I offer, I specialize in residential real estate, but I also work with entrepreneurs to connect them with the right people. So I'm all about connecting the dots for people in my community, whether they be a part of the network or just in general. I find if you give first.
Right, so we had a little bit of a disconnect there, so I'm just going to come back. Thanks so much, Jane. This can sometimes happen on Google Hangouts, and you know what? As an eWomen Network member and as an entrepreneur, we just go with it. I mean, this is what can happen in real life, so I know Meshell will be back with us shortly. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to ask you to get your pen and paper ready. And we are going to give you the top 5 reasons about why you want to network. But just before we do that, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how the law of attraction works. Meshell, we're just saying that, we're eWomen. We can go with this,
Yes. Yeah,
Life
absolutely.
things happen, right? But just going to get started on the top 5 tips. But just want to say a little bit about this, right? So before you go networking, make sure that you've set your intention, because that's
Yes.
everything. And
Yes.
you might want to do what we call the clarity through contrast formula that we use. So we're looking at what you don't want, and you could even sit down and write this. Well, what don't you want to have happen at your networking event? One of the things that I don't like to be sold to. So
Right.
I'm going to put that down, because at eWomen, that's one of the things I love about it. We're going to talk about it as a tip, so I'll leave it for that anyway. But, figure out what you don't want, but get really clear on what you do want. That clarity is what's going to move you forward. And for myself, as a solopreneur business coach, I'm always working on women getting clear on who is their ideal client.
Mm-hmm.
And once we know who that target market is, then we make a marketing plan, and then we take some action steps to attract those clients. And this is where networking is almost always my first strategy that I recommend to new entrepreneurs or even seasoned entrepreneurs. But there is a way to network, and there's reasons that you want to network. It's not, and we talked about this a bit, it's just not, don't go to just sell to somebody. I mean, that's, I'm going to use this phrase, it's old boys club way of selling. When I was in corporate, that's how I was taught to go networking. Go sell something, go make sure
Right.
people know what you do. And it's just this verbal diarrhea that comes out of your mouth, and person's there, the eyes are glazing over, and they're thinking, how can I get away from this person, right? Okay. Alrighty. So let's go ahead, and Jane, you're going to give us one of your top 5 reasons. And for those of you listening, I mean, we had to kind of narrow these down, because we could do 100 reasons to network. But Jane, go ahead and just give us the first one.
So the first, probably the most essential thing is that if you want to make money in networking, you have to show up, and you have to show up regularly.
Mm-hmm.
I find that a lot of people, they come to the event a few times and they think, why am I not making any business? First of all, they're coming with the attitude that they're selling, rather than listening and figuring out what other people's needs are. But the other thing is just you have to show up. And we've done this in 2 ways with our networking group. So the first way is we have our accelerated networking meetings where people show up every month. And those are important because the face-to-face, you're going to read nuances and understand and connect with people on a personal level. And then in between our meetings, we have a Facebook group, which is a private member group, and they connect online so that they're in touch with each other's lives on a continual basis. So those 2, what you do when you do that is you create community. And it's a community of develops an accountability to each other, and also they start to know, like, and trust one another. And that's when you're going to get the referrals. And I would say it takes about 6 months.
Good. Okay. That's good to know. Yeah, and I really like that. So tip number 1 is regular attendance that develops accountability, and people get to see who you are and also build that community, right? Because we often say, you're not going to ask to marry somebody on the first date, so why would you do that when you're networking, right? I'm just saying. Okay.
Exactly.
Meshell, let's go to you for tip number 2.
So just to expand a little bit on what Jane said about the regular attendance. So the regular attendance, what happens is the more people who know what you do, the more likely you are to receive a referral,
Absolutely.
a recommendation, or even a client. So as you said, I don't like to be sold to. My favorite tagline, or one of the things I tell people, I don't put out on the first coffee. So
That's okay, we're not doing that. Yeah.
So as you said, just like with dating, you need to get to know someone. So I have a personal mantra, and when I coach and I'm working with people, and even with the women in my network, I remind them that the goal is to let people know what you do and to leave them better off for having met you. So you're planting a seed. And the more people who are on, so you're creating ambassadors. When you give people tips, when you connect people, when you help them find the things that they want, well, you have someone who, oh my God, Meshell is amazing. So as they're coming across opportunities.
Whoops. Okay, we just lost her for a minute. I'm not sure why on that. But yeah, so tip number 2 is build your referral business. So Jane, let's go to tip number 3 with you, because you were talking a bit about community there. So let's go back to that, because you're a big community builder. I know that about you. You're connecting. You're always connecting people. I see that all the time.
Yes, so I apologize. It's just knocking me off. I'm too powerful. I'm too powerful. That's what.
Okay.
It's the wattage.
Yeah.
So again, as you're leaving people better off for having spent time with you, you create ambassadors. And as Jane said, if you're taking the time to regularly attend groups and meetups, you're creating ambassadors. You're making it powerful, and you literally don't have to work as hard because people trust you. They know you have integrity. And then again, that's the power of our network, and that's what we look to cultivate at eWomen Network especially.
Yeah, perfect. So you're going to hear a lot of us, the 3 of us, talking about know, like, and trust. Mm-hmm. And that, you know, Jane said maybe that takes 6 months. I mean, some things may be quicker, some things may be longer. It also depends how engaging you are and if you're building those relationships. So tip number 2 is build your referral business, your strategic alliances, get people to know, like, and trust you. So just back to Jane, then again, moving on the community. And I was just saying before Meshell cut out and come back in that Jane's a fabulous connector and community builder, and I know she does that all the time. And it's so Jane, just tell us about that, why you do it and how you think it's good for networking or getting to know people.
Well, in my personal business, probably is a good example. As a realtor, people come into town and often they don't know, especially Victoria, they've come from across the country from different cities. Mm-hmm. And so I have to connect them instantly with a plumber, you know, a drywaller, and then in the case of somebody trying to build their business, with a business coach. So what I do is I have a network of people, a community of people who are my go-to group, and I encourage my members to do the same thing. And through that, because I know the level of service that they're going to get, I can introduce them and make the connection with confidence. And I know this works, and I know that the other thing I do is I respond immediately when people ask for help, and so that their level of stress is really low. And I know that I do this because on the weekend I got a call from one of my clients whose daughter broke her arm, and he asked me, should I send her to the clinic or should I take her to the hospital? And I thought,
that's personal. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a, you know, really what you're doing just by giving the people a connection, you're not providing your own service, you're servicing your community and you're servicing your client at the same time.
Yeah, and that's absolutely perfect. So I love that, talking about having those strategic alliances, and also, you know, people do personally count on you. I have a good example. I was coaching someone yesterday. Actually, she's a realtor, and we were doing a marketing plan with her. And because she knew my past as well, I was an interior decorator and home stager myself. So she said, okay, once the call's over, she goes, okay, I got a personal question. What do you think about granite in the bathroom? You know, so I was like, okay, well, we can go there, right? Because, you know, as women, I mean, we honestly have, you know, multiple skills in our toolkit. It's, you know, but like as Jane said, it's all about who can we connect people with. And I know, you know, for me as a business coach, I have strategic alliances if people want more social media training, if they need a graphic artist, and I know Meshell has the same, right? So, you know, we're going to all work with our specialty, and that's what's beautiful about networking. In fact, Meshell, that's going to take us into the 4th top tip here, which is learn about others.
Yes. And for me, it's I believe we have 2 ears to listen and 1 mouth to speak for a reason. And again, there's a quote that I reference all the time: people don't care what you know until it matters to them. So
Right.
be others focused. Spend time listening to what others need. As a networker,
Yeah.
my goal is always to help, as Jane said, to help others, and it doesn't have to be business related, because I'm truly in the business of serving and helping others. And you can see, and you've had those conversations where as soon as people ask you, they fire off questions. So you feel like you're at a firing range and they're just asking you question after question. And then when they get to that final question where they figure out you're not their client, then they dismiss you.
Yeah.
And no one likes that feeling. No
Yeah.
one enjoys that. So I would say
Networking. So I'll say networking is a lot like dating. So
Yeah.
you know you're gonna meet people who you click with and others
Yeah.
that you don't. And if you can make a connection with somebody, and even if you're not the right person, knowing who they are who they are to be connected to is important.
exactly.
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 And I'll just, it's funny, Meshell, I don't know what's going on, but you are powerful.
we
girlfriend.
were perfect earlier, so
That's right. Yeah. So those of you watching, we have done run-throughs and everything was good, but you know what? That's kind of what I like it being live. You can see how we deal with things, right?
right, yes.
Okay, my bottom line question is always, did anybody die? And if they didn't, we just move on, right? We just deal with it.
There you go.
But something I wanted to say about the law of attraction was just to continue on with what Jane is saying. When we go networking, the job description of the law of attraction is to just match vibrations. So I talk a lot about, there's only 2 vibrations, and this is what they are.
Yes.
Yeah,
You've either got, if you've got this one going on, as Jane just said, you're going to be attracted to that person. If you walk up to somebody, and I sometimes think that, I'm sure this is going to happen, our phones someday will have a meter reader for vibrations. Like, is this person somebody I want to be around or not, right? But when you get into this vibe with somebody, it's just like, you know what? We're just not a match, and that's fine with me, because they're going to be a match for somebody else. And it doesn't mean that we're ever, rude to anybody or whatever. But maybe Jen, you could tell us if you were. Let's talk about the actual networking, right? You're talking with someone and they start selling to you, and your eyes are kind of glazing over. What might be a good way to just kind of move off from that person into another one?
And usually what I do is try and figure out who their best match is in the room. Yeah. And then I introduce them.
The brain's going, yeah, because you're a connector,
yeah.
Right? That's how you do it. And then it's a nice way of saying, hey, I need to introduce you to this person, right?
Yeah, and like, I don't know if you know about bank training, but everybody.
Yeah, I was looking at it, yeah.
Yeah, everybody has a different type of personality, and sometimes, like a lot of action and nurturers get along well. And so nurturers and knowledge people are sort of counter
Attracting.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can always, when I meet somebody, I'm assessing who they are, and then I'll try and figure out it's like dating. Really is like dating. Yeah. And so often what I do, if I feel that they're selling too much, I might ask something personal about themselves.
That's a good one, yeah.
And to get to know them on a different level, so that they don't, because sometimes when people come into networking, they feel like they have to sell. But you don't, when you invite people into your home, you don't open the door and go, hi, I'm a realtor, buy from me.
Oh, Jay, come on.
Tell us the truth, Jay.
Yeah. So, Meshell, let's we're just making this up as we go along here before we get into number 5 there. But so what made you become a managing director? What happened for you?
What happened for me, it was a vision I had literally sitting at the 2014 national conference, looking at all the managing directors on stage.
Oh, wow.
And I just knew that was my tribe. I had a moment, an epiphany, and I knew I wanted to be part of that tribe. But I thought to myself, oh, not now. My managing director is doing quite well. She's not going anywhere. And lo and behold, 4 or 5 months later, I received the call.
Oh, I got goosebumps.
I had never told anyone. I had never mentioned a one
Wow.
word to one person, and she called and offered me the opportunity, and it scared me to death. And I know if you're not you're not dreaming big enough if it doesn't scare you.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than you realize. That's for sure.
Yeah. So it has been an actual, I feel like life's challenges are just meant to refine and define character that exists within us that we did not even know we had. And
Exactly.
that is exactly what being a managing director has done for me. It has I feel like a diamond that's just being polished and cut, and a lot more cuts than polishing, but
I love that. We should. I think I'll send this to Sandra Yancey so she can. That would be a really good one about why you become a managing director, right? Without even knowing it. That's great. Okay, so we're just going to review, and then I'm going to give you the top 5 reasons. As I said, there's a whole lot more than this, but so the first one is regular attendance develops credibility. The next reason is to build your referral business. The third one, create community and support and really get to know people on a personal level. And the fourth one, which flows into that, is learning about others. So we want to learn about others in a, hey Meshell, in a personal basis as well as a business. So the fifth reason that I selected this one is become known for your brand. Because, as a businesswoman, once you decide on things on the graphic part of it, what's your logo, what's your company name, what's your tagline, all of that, you want to make sure that because most of us are solopreneurs. I think the majority of women in eWomen, and I should mention that there are men in eWomen as well.
Emails.
Emails. Thank you. Emails. I don't know why we don't call them e-men, but anyway, so there are emails and eWomen, but the majority are women. So it doesn't matter, male or female. You want to make sure that your brand is consistent. So, I talked about this earlier, that a lot of us have a whole lot of different tools in our toolkit. A lot of us do more than one thing. For example, even though I am a law of attraction trainer and business coach, I also take women through a program called Discover Your Sacred Gifts. So there's 24 sacred gifts. We all have 3 to 5. But when I go networking, I'm always the law of attraction gal. So the logo that you see behind me, even doing my hangouts like this, I've got my brand behind me. When I go networking as well, I bring my ebook with me, which is everything you can see. There's up there. Everything, the brand is consistent. So people are going to get to know, actually, Meshell, I want you to talk about this, and then I'm going to come back to about being consistent with your brand. But when you came up and spoke at the Vancouver eWomen chapter, you talked a lot about kind of everywhere you go, there you are.
Yes.
Right? So tell us a little bit more about that, because we are our brand. That's it. We are our brand, and people get who you are right away.
Exactly. So for me, like what I do in my business, which is Best to Better, I actually work with individuals to find and realize their core value, who it is, as you say, the law of attraction. So who are you going to show up as in the world? And decide on whatever that core value is, what is relevant, and then you decide and you become unwavering. And then I have people write a personal mission statement. So it's like your marching orders. So this is my mission. This is who I said. If it's love, if it's integrity, if it's kindness, whatever you've decided, that's who you're going to be everywhere. And then what happens is your business is built off of that.
Yes.
And so that's what you're known as. So if everything resonates or vibrates from that core value, then it will fall into place. It's never going to be easy, but it becomes effortless.
It's true, because if you otherwise you're incongruent and you come across as inauthentic.
Yes.
It's very true.
Yeah, and and even though, as I say, we do a lot of things, and I know a lot of women do have businesses with residual income or things on the side, but when you go to networking and you're consistent, you talk about that and keep it consistent. But something else that I'd like to talk about, I guess we could have another reason, is that you want to meet people after, right? So you want to have that referral coffee or that referral tea or even referral glass of wine, whatever is good for you, because that's where you get to know them personally. That's when you can tell.
I think what you need to do is exactly what you were saying at the beginning, is you go with your intention, but also when you're doing your introduction, you have to know what you're asking for. So in Victoria, we ask 4 questions: who you are, what you do, how can we serve you, rather than what do you need. Say that
again and slower, Jane, because people might like to write that down.
Oh, we ask who you are, what you do, how can we serve you, rather than what you need, because we want to know what we can do for you. And then the 4th question is, how have you been of service? So what have you done for the community? It's all about being authentic, because we learn more about a person, about what they do for others, than what they want others to do for them.
Very, very good. I like that. That's great. Yeah. And I think, Meshell, do you have those 4 same questions? Oh, she's gone. Okay. All right. She'll be back. I know that in, eWomen has
they don't.
And, we vary a little bit on them. It sometimes can just be another question, but those are really core questions. And I love the fact that you're talking about, how can you serve others? It's because when everybody goes, I'm pretty sure that 99.9% of the men and women that are showing up are looking for clients, right? We're looking for either a client, a referral, a strategic alliance, but you're not going to go there and say, well, I'm looking for a client. It's like, it doesn't really appeal to me. So, Meshell, how about in your group?
I have 4 questions. Mine's are more tied, of course, to my personality. So mine's are, who are you? Who are you? What do you do? What is your, so it's who are you? What do you do? Which is one question. What is your passion? How are you incorporating your passion into your business?
Nice.
And then it's how can we serve you? But basically, I do the passion because I'm always looking to help people to be excited about what you do, because that's the contagious that you will create.
Absolutely.
That's how you start to vibrate and draw others onto you, because you're excited about what you do.
Yeah. This is what's happening.
Yes.
They're feeling it. And I certainly felt it, when you came up here. In fact, that's why I was so attracted to you, that I thought, whoa, I love this woman. I love the energy. I love the enthusiasm. I love the authenticity. And, it didn't take much, even though we don't even live in the same city. I did a follow-up with you. So we're not talking in this hangout about how to network, because that's a whole other topic, but we're talking about why. But one of the whys for me is that I wanted to get to know Meshell more, and I had met Jane at other events as well, and I thought, those would be 2 great women. So in a way, strategic alliances for me, I didn't ask you to be my client or anything, right? But
no.
We're great referrals, and Meshell, you and I have gotten to know each other, and what I love about it is, there are eWomen chapters all over North America, so you can be traveling anywhere and meet someone or do things virtually like this. But anyway, this is not an eWomen commercial. It just happens that we are all part of eWomen. So so what I'd like to do now, just ask if you have any, I'd actually like to ask you, Meshell, if there's any programs that you have coming up, or just tell people what your website is, where they can find you, and maybe what you're passionate about. We may lose you again because
right? I'm like shell shocked. Should I start talking? Because it seems like as soon as I start talking, Google Hangout wants to drop me. So I am currently rebranding, and my rebranding is on the Congruency Catalyst, because that's my passion, is helping people to have beliefs, behaviors that align with the brand that they want to create, and then they have the business that thrives in the community. And it's all tied back to service. One of the things I truly believe in is, if you're not excited about what you do, why would your client be excited?
Right.
So, and then that's why people are having to hunt Because if you're not excited about what you do, you're not going to get referrals and repeat business, and you're constantly on the hunt. Versus stopping, finding what you're excited about, then again, you're contagious, you vibrate, people are drawn onto you, and then you're cultivating. And you actually, your clients become your ambassadors.
Right.
They speak on your behalf wherever they go.
Absolutely.
So that is my passion, is how do I help more people to live that kind of life, because it helps your life become effortless. I always say it's not easy. It's not meant to be easy, because the challenges and the difficulties refine and define your character, and they help you to create your products and services and want to be better at at the things that you do. But it's the effortless that I help people create.
Lovely, love it. And your website is?
It's www.meshellbaker.com. So if you Google me, I've learned through eWomen Network, I have to give them a shout out, and all the members and the speakers we've had, my SEO, like I am the first 2 pages of my name. So
love it, love it. Excellent, good for you. That's a whole other topic another time. Right. Thanks so much, Meshell from Austin, Texas, and Jane. Any final parting words?
So actually, I met up with Michael Lozier a couple of weeks
Michael told me. Yeah.
And he's going to be coming to speak in our chapter in September, the second Tuesday of September. I think it's the 9th. And he's going to be talking about the law of attraction. And then we're going to be doing a one-day seminar October 1st. If you want to come over, we're looking for people to have a sponsorship table, so you would fit right in. My core business is real estate, and I like connecting people. My mantra is bridging the gap between you and your next home, and my focus is on helping people make smart, educated decisions so that they don't regret buying or selling. So
nice.
Sometimes I talk people out of buying a home.
Yeah, and that's right. That's looking out for their best interests, right? And that's definitely providing a service. And what's your website, Jane, that they could reach you at?
It's www.briarhillgroup, BRIAR, hillgroup.com. And Briar Hill is the community that I grew up in Toronto.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice. It's amazing.
Nice,
I know.
I love that. Good law of attraction there. Perfect.
I know.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies, thank you so much for being on the Hangout today. And I'll be putting this up, and you can share it with your tribes as well. And just my parting words to you are, if you're not familiar with the law of attraction and you want to know a little bit more about it, everything starts with your words and your thoughts, and then it goes into your feelings about what you're thinking to get the result that you do. So since one of my sacred gifts is teaching, I can't help but do that. So this ebook that you can get, you can just go to empoweredwomeninbusiness.com. You can look at my programs or my coaching, but in this little book, I like to give people exercises. It's kind of what I do. So, yeah, I believe in taking the information and then actually making it yours so you do understand how it is. And so, again, if you haven't, you know, we all do belong to eWomen, and as Meshell and Jane have said, you know, we do belong to other networking groups as well, but if you haven't checked out eWomen, it might be a very good fit for you, because there are, how many branches, Jane?
There's 118 chapters, but I would say there's probably 50 active right now.
Yeah, so that's good, right? And, or, you know, take a look if you're not, you know, even if you feel that you're somebody who's shy, because that's one of the reasons people give me for not networking. Well, you know, if you just go to the same networking event, you know, 1 month, meet just one person, go have a coffee with them after, right? Find the one that vibrates with you, and then just start there, and then go the next month and say, okay, I'm going to meet another person. Because it's not like the old days of networking. It's not going in, collecting as many cards as you can, putting them all in your database, and then people get emails and go, okay, well, who is this person, right? It's just not how we connect anymore. So we like much more personal, authentic connection. So
You know what?
That's
Yes, just a
yes,
quick
yes.
story. Yesterday, one of my members was doing a favor for me, actually making a thank you card for your member, Meshell. And she had picked it up at the meeting and had carried it home. And so I went to her business, and she turned to me and she said, you know, I kind of like this girlfriend thing.
I love it. Yeah.
I said, what do you mean? And she said, you know, I always grew up hanging out with guys and stuff, but you guys are always there for me. And she's been a member, a long-time member, and she's always in the background. She's very shy. But, you know, I think the joy of our network is we just accept you for who you are.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I'm not there to judge anybody. I'm just there to welcome them,
Yes.
and include them in whatever way they feel comfortable as well. Because, as Jane said earlier, you look at people's body language and where they are. And sometimes if I see someone just standing alone by themselves, and I'm sure Meshell and Jane do it, I'll go over and talk with them. I'll say, hey, come on, meet some more people here, and just make it friendly. And if that works for them, that's great. They can come a few times, and then if they want to sign up, that's open. That's available for them, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, then. Thank you so much, ladies. And actually, you know what? I think this was such a great show today. I'm just going to do one final thing here before we leave, and that is going to be... All right. Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Good to see you.
Bye.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.